Welcome to Jump Shots from the Goal Line. I'm your host, Jonathan Dugan, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Mr. John Henningsen. What up, Henny? How's it going, dude?
Life's good, man. Another weekend in the books. I mean, we're officially into the week. Are you still? I don't know if we've ever properly acknowledged this on the podcast, but I mean, you're full in paternity leave with a second one in. I don't. Did we ever even properly talk about that? I don't know.
I don't know if we did or not, but yeah, dude, I'm on my 5th week of paternity leave. I kind of forgot what it feels like to be like a grown adult. My whole life, like I've been going to work basically, and then like the last 5
Right.
weeks, I just get to wake up, hang out with a baby, hang out with my 4-year-old, and basically do whatever the hell I want. I watch so much TV, it's like sickening. I just finished tonight the third season of Narcos. So like the last season of the first series, not Mexico, but like the Colombia one. I've watched that. I watched Griselda or Griselda, you know. I've
Sure.
watched
Sure.
all of Vikings, the entire series. I've watched so much TV, it's like stupid to this point, you know. Also been, working out, cooking a lot. I don't know. It's been fun, dude. It's been great. Basically vacation.
I mean, it sounds like you're living a European lifestyle. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
this is my assumption of what Europe is like.
yeah. And if you guys ever just get real sick of like, working, just have a kid. You get 6 weeks, at least where we work, it's pretty cool. Granted, then you have a lifetime of like responsibility, but what is that?
Sure. 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 Yeah. I'm
If you
actually
want to,
more curious. Are you feeling more connected to the? I mean, these are very loose and broad lines that I'm going to draw right now. So for anyone
yeah.
who wants to hold me to it, feel free. But are you feeling more connected to Vikings or Narcos based on like where you fit in your family, dynamic
Uh,
at this point? And again, drawing very loose lines, folks. So just play with me. Yeah.
isn't it crazy how TV does that to you? Because shit you not, I watched all of Vikings, and like for a large portion of it, I was just like, God damn, I want to go out and buy some mead, well, like some honey
Yeah.
wine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I
You're like,
start
I
watching
need it.
Narcos. I start watching Narcos, and I start like randomly like thinking of Spanish curse words to just mutter,
Yeah.
and like
That's
I'm
what I
all
mean. You
proud.
never know. Yeah.
I'm all proud. I'm
Exactly.
like telling my wife, I'm like, guess what Spanish curse word I learned now?
Exactly. Exactly.
um, but yeah, dude, I don't know. It is funny how it works that way. But no, it's been chill, man. The baby's good. She's got a little bit of stomach stuff going on right now, as a lot of babies tend to do when they're so little. It's just everything you put into their mouth somehow just makes them sick. So that's fun, but it is what it is. Other than that, dude, it was a pretty big weekend. We had Waste Management, we had Super Bowl, we had the NFL award stuff come out, just a lot of sports stuff. So a lot to talk through tonight. Obviously, I think we should probably talk about the Super Bowl first. I mean, it's basically, outside of like the big three of Thanksgiving, Halloween, and Christmas, it's probably the biggest holiday in America. I would gander to say, I think it's even bigger than the 4th of July. Um, what's funny is
Bold.
it's bold, but get this.
Yeah, but it's a big
So
deal for
my
sure.
sister-in-law's a nurse, and she told my wife that 25 nurses called out on Super Bowl Sunday. Nurses, people that we should be having, watch over sickly people, just had to watch the Chiefs and the Niners go at it. So, you make your own thoughts. What's bigger, founding fathers or Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, hey, that's a nice little nugget for our viewers. I mean, if you're planning on any sort of, surgery, whether it's simply in and out or otherwise, I mean, maybe do not schedule around the Super Bowl. There's a good chance they don't even care for you. That they
It's
have bigger
true.
plans, and you should probably schedule accordingly. So that's just a good note. That's a good life hack.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I didn't realize that. I didn't know it was so big. It's probably because the whole Taylor Swift bullshit, though. If we're gonna be honest, I mean,
Yeah.
your wife was probably locked in the whole game, right?
I mean, it definitely weighed heavier in my household than it ever has in the past. I mean, I can tell you that without a doubt. A lot more interest coming from this household than what was traditionally believed to be true. So it's a thing. It's a full on thing.
What'd you think of her airtime? Did you feel like you were expecting more, or was it overkill, or just right on the dot?
We had the guy at the party. I mean, party is a very loose term, small gathering, but we did have the guy who was giving the counter. You know what I mean? So I was like hyper aware of it. He's like, "That's 7, dude. That's 7." And he was like, kind of calling it out. So, I mean, personally, I think it's fine. I don't think it's any different than I've never viewed it as any different than when hey, we're at a Lakers game. We're going to see Jack Nicholson. They're going to show the guy, LeBron's high-fiving Drake as he goes past because, the Lakers are good. Drake's a fan. Lakers are bad. Drake's a fan of something else. Also, Drake might show you something. Hang in there. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on there. But, yeah, whatever the case may be. Yeah, sorry. I don't know. That's where we got to, and that's where we're going to go. But I thought the coverage was just like normal. I don't think anything of it, honestly. It's not that big of a deal to me. Like, she is obviously a very big deal.
Huge.
I mean, as far as the momentum that she has, I think that is particularly rare in terms of just like showing her during a game. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah. No, I thought I honestly was expecting more. I figured like every time Travis Kelce was going to do something, they would just instantly just pan over, but it wasn't too bad. I thought it was hilarious that like Ice Spice and then CeCe Sabathia was sitting next to her.
Yeah, he's in the background.
Yeah, it's just like
that was
all
hilarious.
The people, yeah, I was like, okay, cool. CeCe's here. Just a very eclectic skybox for the most part, but it was cool. I mean, the game itself, probably one of the better Super Bowl games I've watched in the past few years. I thought last year's was pretty cool, like just the comeback and everything, but this one, just the back and forth, going to overtime, like I thought it was a great game. For the most part, a great defensive battle, but also had its nice like offensive stuff going on as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game. I mean, obviously we ended up in overtime. I thought it was a little slow in the first half. It just kind of was. I mean, there was kind of like the feel each other out type of flow. You mentioned a couple of turnovers. Just felt like, guys, and any drive that kind of did happen, maybe kind of stalled out because we had a couple turnovers there. But generally speaking, it was a good game. I thought it was enjoyable. I mean, no complaints there. Did have a nice ebb and flow, and obviously when you get into overtime, it's hard to say it wasn't a good game.
Yeah,
but I mean, I will just say like my general pull towards it I wasn't passionate in any direction or the other, which isn't that for me. We talked about and I've said it on here before. I root for one team, and the other 31 teams are kind of like whatever to me. Mm-hmm. So I mean, and also my team's been in the Super Bowl like once in my lifetime. So it's not like I'm like every year I go into it with a ton of passion. But I think I have seen like bigger draws or storylines. I think it was, pretty much. Look, what happened is what I thought would happen. Is part of the problem, and it felt like the elephant in the room the entire time of like. So Mahomes is just kind of hanging around, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of just hanging around. It seems like, and he's just in the game all night, and you just kind of think, well, he's going to figure it out. I mean, I was at a Chiefs fan's house. This guy's barbecuing. He stops in the middle of the game to go play arcade games. He doesn't even care. He just knows it's going to happen. He's like, let me know when it's like 2 minutes, and I'll come back in for the W in the coronation. Like, guy doesn't even, never seen like such vibes. Like, absolutely embracing the Zubaz pant lifestyle.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been more comfortable.
Jesus Christ. It was funny. I was watching it.
Sickening.
I was watching with my stepson Manny, and like he really wanted the Niners to win. He did not want a Chiefs dynasty. He's just sick of it, and I'm like, hey, welcome to me watching the Patriots, 15 years ago. So
it's fun to try.
Yeah, but he was getting really pissed, and then towards the end of the game, he's like, all right, they just got to get a stop. They got to get a stop. And I was just sitting there in my head, just laughing. I'm like, he doesn't even know what's about to happen.
I was like, all your dreams are crushed, bro. There's nothing good that can come of this.
Yeah,
Darth Vader's in the building.
Yeah, and then when it was the dude that was on the Jets, forgive me, I'm forgetting his name, who caught the touchdown, the game winner, that Mecole Hardman. Yeah, Mecole Hardman. When he was the one to catch it, I was just like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be Mecole Hardman?
Yeah, like, the guy who leaves comes back is like they're like nobody else in the league is even willing to pay this guy.
Yeah, couldn't touch the field in New York.
Yeah, and he's gonna catch the game-winning Super Bowl pass, no problem. And he's not even sure if he won the Super Bowl or not. He just caught it and was happy about it. He's like, I caught it. Did we win?
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious when they were doing like the trophy presentation. and they went to like Andy Reid, Clark Hunt, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and then they were like, okay, guess we'll talk to the guy that scored the game winner real quick. They're just like, hey, how you feeling? And he said exactly what you said. Yeah, I couldn't even believe it at first. And they're like, all right, cool, bye. They instantly pan off. They're like, this guy's not dating Taylor Swift. Who cares?
Yeah, they're like, well, we didn't believe it either, buddy. We're gonna get out of here. Let's go to camera 3. We got someone else on the set over here. Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, though, the game I thought was cool just because, oh no, like Brock Purdy played a lot better than I anticipated him to. I thought the bright lights
He
would
played
get to
well.
him a little bit, but dude, he honestly played really well. Shout out, to what high school did he go to? Perry? Was it
Yeah, Perry and
Perry
Gilbert.
High School? Yeah, so shout out to Perry. That's kind of cool. I thought it was hilarious that pre-Super Bowl, Herm Edwards just swore up and down that he just knew he was going to be the guy, but didn't offer him.
Yeah, classic Herm Edwards. I believe it. He coached at ASU. I'm not sure Herm knows that he coached at ASU, but I'm sure he's very excited about it. I mean, I think he might be actually candidate 0 on CTE, but he's a great head coach. I think he's doing wonderful work.
Jesus. I couldn't believe how many 49ers were just like dropping like flies though. Like Dre Greenlaw, like just
That
getting
one's
onto the
tough.
field, dude. That sucked. Like
Yeah,
to somebody that watches sports, like I instantly knew like the way that his like
right.
you could just tell the calf popping. And my
Million.
wife was like, how do you know that he hurt himself? I'm like, I mean, hey, I don't just run a sports podcast, babe. I do watch these from time to time.
Yeah. I think I can I can diagnose these players at an 80% clip.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
honestly.
so.
You know what I
Just
mean? It's crazy. Like, I know it sounds like stupid and we are like definitively idiots for sure, but like you said, I'm like, that's an Achilles. He's done.
yeah.
See you in a year. Like, it's like, I hate it. It's tough, but it's the truth. Yeah. And we absolutely know.
It was cool though. I mean, I shouldn't say it was cool. It was fortunate for some of Tucson people to see Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles get out there though, because of the
Yeah.
injury. And I thought he played well. He almost got that one pick. Mahomes threw it to the end zone and it literally went right by his hand. That would have been really cool. I remember when that guy came on to the Cats. I think was he a walk-on or was he just like a 3-star? Like he was like a nobody. I mean, he played at like
I,
Tucson High. He was undersized.
He was at Tucson High. He was a kid that what he did in the city of Tucson because he was around when I was coaching, and we saw him a
Mhm.
lot. But we saw him in street clothes a lot, frankly, because he was transferring around. And every time you saw him, you're like, "Well, I mean, look at this kid. Like he is a specimen. Like he was like a really in shape, really strong looking kid." And then he would come out and run track, and then he would just absolutely fly on the track. And you're like,
Yeah.
"Well, everybody knows this kid's an athlete, but no one's seen him really play much football." So he was like limited because he was bouncing around from school to school. I don't remember if he ended up coming in as a preferred walk on or if he actually got a scholarship offer at the end of the day.
It's
He
gonna
might have
bother
been one of
me.
those last minute guys that rode in, but
He was
definitely
a
a
rich
local
hard
kid.
guy.
He's got a lot of good relationships in town. I guarantee it because he had a lot of good relationships in town as it was. I think everybody was rooting for him to play. It was kind of like in a weird era where if you did transfer, it was like we have to punish you for half a season, which I always, I don't care, dude. Just let the kids play. Like if they want to like go to another school, so be it. I know it sucks when a school stacks up, but he was always a really talented kid. So yeah, it was awesome to see him out there. I agree. I'm with you. Always good to see
Yeah.
that local flavor. And for Perry, I mean, again, way to represent Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl. I mean, that is awesome. I also did see though that they put like the Brock Purdy sign up, like over the street sign, but then like today that had take it down, which was a little bit more sad after the loss. I was like, I didn't need to see the clip of them taking it down, man.
Yeah,
That's kind of
Jesus
rough now.
Christ.
I was like, it wasn't that bad. Like because he played fine. I thought he did represent well to your point.
Yeah.
He played a good game, and I think, nothing to hang his head over, but the questions are still going to be the same questions
Yeah.
for
We
him,
got a
I think.
we got a YouTube comment though, real quick. Hope you guys had a more successful day than me yesterday. I didn't. I played one parlay. It was a 4-legger. I put it that what did I put? CMC would get a touchdown, which I hit on that. That was one leg. I put that Pacheco would score, Kelsey would score, and I think Brandon Ayuk. So I was pretty far off. How about yourself? I think. Oh yeah, you did text in the group chat that you did hit.
Yeah, I just threw money on Chiefs right away. As soon as like the line came out that it was like Chiefs were in the Super Bowl, I was like, bet the Chiefs. So I just hit the Chiefs right away. So
Blood money, dude. Like
I
you
didn't play
said.
around a lot yesterday. I just kind of was like, all right, I'll just wait for the inevitability of this to hit. The Chiefs are gonna win. This seems the most dude, it's as a lot of other people have said, it's not. I mean, you're not coming here for us to tell you that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are good, but that's just the inevitability of what this is. Like, I mean, you're mentioning, like, right, your son Manny is staring it right down the right down the chamber. I mean,
Right down the
welcome to it,
barrel, baby.
dude. Like, you can dream all you want. This is the inevitability of like the old Patriots. This is just it's here. I mean, you can either embrace it or hate on it or take whatever path you want, but the reality seems to be that more often than not, these guys are going to figure it out.
Look, it happens. It happens what every 10 years. So like the '90s was the Cowboys. They won a shit ton, and that's why there's a lot of Cowboys fans that just cling to the past. In the early 2000s, Patriots. 2010s, still the Patriots.
Yeah, like they're still alive.
And then now I guess it's just the Chiefs time, bro. 2019, 2022, 2023. They went to the Super Bowl 2020. When did they lose it to the Rams? 21? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I feel like that's right. I
And
mean,
then 20. I mean, it's every year. Like you and I talked about it. Like
yeah,
both of our teams are in the AFC, and it's just stupid. It's not even fair. And what really chapped my ass was Chris Jones going, "Yeah, we already played the best team in the NFL and the Ravens." And I was just like, "Yeah, thanks." Needed to hear that from the Dynasty boys. So thank you for that, Chris Jones. It sucks though. They are a dynasty, right? Like you don't win 3 Super Bowls, and like they're not going to slow down. Our prediction or your prediction of Andy Reid potentially retiring, not even prediction, but just like a fun little thought,
just hope,
not
dream.
happening.
No,
He wants to get the 3-peat because nobody's ever done it before, and they probably will do it. Because for all that we thought this year, like they went to Germany, they played a game in Germany. They were an underdog in every game in the playoffs. They literally were on the road every game until, well, yeah, they didn't have a home game at all in the playoffs. They had injuries. They had a Taylor Swift bullshit stuff going on. Didn't matter. Did not
yeah,
matter. So,
dad gets in trouble. This, that, nothing, unfazed,
yeah, that didn't even get mentioned until I
unbothered.
did it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think everybody should, but I just like it's like even when you think like, oh, it could be a distraction, this, that, nothing. It's just like they just keep marching along like the machine that they are, which is what the old Patriots used to do, right? Like there used to be
Yeah.
like Deflategate, oh, this, petty that, and you like think, oh, maybe this will like matter in their locker room. Nothing touches their locker room.
No.
Travis Kelsey almost kills Andy Reid on the sideline. Look out, Swifties! This guy's a dangerous man. He's an absolute animal. But no matter what happens, they just march on and they just continue to win. And Patrick Mahomes looks completely in control all the time,
Unfazed.
and just and honestly, like I mean, I think without question, without even skipping a beat, I think he's the best quarterback I've ever seen on a football field.
Yeah.
I already completely feel that way. I don't even have to like you can talk about accolades and all of the other stuff in terms of a guy that I just absolutely fear. And the thing is, he has zero weapons. I mean,
No. Just Travis Kelsey.
like it's just Kelsey. I mean,
Yeah.
I was like having this argument with someone before the Super Bowl. Like, you really think Pacheco's just an average running back? I'm like, do you really think he's special? Like,
No.
when you watch Pacheco, what about it is it that you think that he's not? He's not special at all. This
Tell
guy
me.
can't catch it out of the backfield. He
Yeah.
runs halfback dives. Like, I mean, like
Tell,
if
tell
you're
me how
playing
he's
Madden,
any different than Ben Jarvis Green Ellis.
yeah, like this guy is a nobody. This guy's I mean, look, all due respect, right? Like I'm sure he's a fine football player. This guy is not special.
No, he
And
just
none of those
runs
wide
hard.
receivers are even close to special. Travis Kelsey is a very, 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 very good football player. And that is it.
It's crazy, dude, because they if you ask me to name their wide receivers, I could do like Marquez Valdez Scantling only because the jokes write themselves.
Sure.
Typically, unless it's a big moment like against my Ravens or in the Super Bowl. I think they have a guy named Rice, and I only know him.
Yeah, Rasheed Rice.
Yeah,
Great
Rasheed
shooter.
Rice, because he
Yeah.
was really good at SMU. That's the only reason I know him. Because remember Tanner Mordecai? We had a lot of Tanner Mordecai love the beginning of college football season. So I remember that. Sky Moore, I think, is a thing, but I don't think he ever plays. I couldn't tell you anybody else. Could not tell you another receiver.
I guarantee you, if you polled people on the street, most people would say Kadarius Toney above any other name.
Oh yeah, Toney.
And he doesn't even. But like they couldn't even play him. They had to keep him out of the building because he's a sociopath.
Yep.
I mean, he's just like out there just talking about himself, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna win a Super Bowl. Do you want to go?" And he's like, "No, I'm too busy doing me." And you're like, "All right, man. We'll just catch you on the next one or whatever. Let us know if you humble up."
How shitty is it that guy has 2 Super Bowl rings now?
It's crazy, absolutely absurd. And Mahomes is so good that and there's like I have a younger brother who like wants to make the argument, and I kind of want to be there with him. Like, right, this is something I understand where he's coming. Where like he believes that like, hey, the weapons make the player. Like you could make that argument with Joe Burrow when you talk about Jamar Chase and Higgins and the guys that he has, and you're like, is Burrow? Obviously, we see what Tyreek has done for Tua. He refuses to, though, then accept the fact that Patrick Mahomes is absolutely killing everybody with nothing. I mean, like, it's a good defense and it's a good system, and they have like other things going on there that are good. So I don't want to take away from the fact that they repaired the offensive line and they built a good defense and they have good coaching. But like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. But also, like,
that line
who are these good? Who are these names that we're supposed to be dropping, saying that like you don't need a quarterback anymore? And I keep, we sit here and say like, oh yeah, it's fun to like the idea of doing this and that, but the inevitability of Patrick Mahomes is like just staring you in the face, every single year as the end result.
And it definitely is him, because that's another fun fact, right? Like the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill 2 seasons ago, and guess what they've done since then?
Yep, 2 for 2.
Super Bowls.
Like, 2 for 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree.
Got the best wide receiver out of the room, and then like now we're good.
Yeah, potentially the best wide receiver in the league. And
I think he is. Yeah.
They're like, we don't really need you. We'll be fine. And Patty Mahomes just goes on and does it. Like, as much as I get annoyed with like the constant State Farm commercials and just like his wife and his brother, like you cannot deny like just how freaking good this guy is and how much of a pain in the ass he's going to be for the next 10 years, because he's 28. It just sucks.
He's 28.
Let's hope that your boy, your Harbaugh brother, can pull his Jimbo magic and just, do something about this freaking dynasty.
Yeah, it's up to Justin Herbert, or Lamar, which I guess, I don't know. Do you have any other things around the Super Bowl, like other things you want to discuss? I mean, I guess, is there any like pop culture stuff, this, that? I mean, I don't know. Is there anything about the game? Do you think about what about the overtime?
The overtime was cool. I kind of knew it was going to happen, though. I mean, if you pay attention to sports Twitter, I forget who it was, but somebody dropped that there was that they added double overtime for the first time in Super Bowl era. So like that would have been a great bet if I was like paying attention enough to like place a bet on just like game goes to overtime. Because like, some random sports journalist doesn't just drop that out of nowhere. Like, oh, hey, guess what? Like that was in the ether now, so that was cool. Right. I thought the Niners choosing to have the ball first wasn't a terrible idea, because like trust your defense. That's what got you there. Honestly, right? So you go out and
I don't think it's that crazy.
Yeah, you get the 3 points, and then you just have to stop Patrick Mahomes, which we just talked about for 15 minutes that you can't.
It's impossible. Yeah.
But then that's the thing, right?
Maybe,
if they go down and score a touchdown, it's over anyway, right? Like technically,
no.
That's okay. See, then I'm confused about the overtime rules too.
No, this is the
problem. This is the problem, because college, you watch enough college football, and then you try to transfer over to the NFL, and it really messes you up. You know what I mean?
So this is my complaint about overtime, is that nobody
knows what the hell's going on.
You watch it, dude. You watch 1 million games. I watch 1 million games.
Yeah,
we're in overtime, and I'm like, and you're at a Super Bowl like event where people are talking and blah 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 and paying attention. I'm like, we're a couple minutes into it. I'm like, hey, does anybody even know what the hell is going on or what the rules are?
You start nervously sweating.
Yeah, nobody knows the rules, dude. Nobody knows what's going on, which is why, like, I wasn't being critical of Shanahan at the time, because I don't even understand. Both teams get the ball no matter what.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Then I guess
That
in
was
like a
sudden
third
death.
possession, and then it becomes a free for all or whatever. But I'm like, at this point, I'm like, why aren't we just playing a 15-minute quarter? Why don't you just add 15 minutes and we'll just play another 15 minutes of like normal football, or give me the straight college thing where it's like very definitive, like you get it on the 25, you get it on the 25, and instead they're like in this blurred area. So I think it's like, I don't
Did
think
it
it's a good. I don't
did
like
it
it.
used to be sudden death like that? Is that why it's in my head? Or
Yeah, it
was
was
that
like sudden death, and they moved it a little bit further after that, where they're
yeah.
saying like you get like not a field goal doesn't win it, but a touchdown would win it. But then in the playoffs, they were like a touchdown wouldn't win it. We're still going to give the other team the ball, which is I think which is what we were operating with last night. And dude, they're
I don't
just
know.
that's what I'm saying. Like it's annoying to me that like I watch as much football as I do, and I even had pause about what was going on.
Yeah. See,
That's not. I shouldn't.
I had formed an opinion about it, Henny, and I was completely wrong.
Yeah, that's just and that's not but you're not alone in that. A lot of people were confused about what was going on or like unclear. But then of course, like, I sent a text to a buddy, then he's like, yeah, 7's greater than 3. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, dude. And that's funny, but I understand that more points is better than less points. But I'm like, is that like the end, if that's what happens? And like clearly it was. But that's the thing. I'm not sure that the Chiefs, honestly, truly, to a man, I don't think knew they won the Super Bowl when they caught that touchdown. Like they were happy,
Yeah.
but I think the muted response is in part because everybody's
Wait a minute.
like that's definitely good that we got a touchdown. We all know that's good. Did we win the game? Like I don't even know that they all holistically knew. I mean,
Yeah. I don't know
stupid.
either. I truly have no clue. So, no, I guess I mean with
I understand
overtime,
it today, and I can explain it, but no one's going to care today, and they'll probably change it because everybody is confused, and we're complaining about it on a podcast, and they'll be like, Goodell will be like, whatever you guys want,
yeah.
however you want to do it.
Yeah. Whatever
Taylor
works.
overtime, Taylor's version.
Yeah. There you go. That's what
Yeah,
it was.
rebranded again.
The
Cash the
halftime show
check.
was good. I like the halftime show. Did you like the halftime show?
Yeah, as I say, we have to talk a little bit of halftime show. All right, now I just want to like ask you. I mean, and obviously we've seen the show now, so we can't go back in time. But if I were to ask you,
Mhm.
like what are some quintessential songs, or like what is the song that you anticipate to hear from Usher? And so, like maybe what was missing
Mm.
that you were expecting, or do you think it was just like it tracked in every single way, and you're like, this is not surprising. I just can't believe you tried to steal Alicia Keys.
Yeah, the second option. I thought it was great. I thought the set list was good. Wifey and I were definitely vibing to it, especially her. Like, that's definitely our era. I mean, close to your era too. You were in college,
For
for
sure.
Usher.
I just had
Um,
early Usher, so I think that's where there's going to be.
yeah, yeah, a little bit of
We'll get to the void here. I'll just hear your opinion, and then I'll tell you why
yeah.
you're wrong.
Whereas,
Yeah,
whereas I was definitely like what he was probably aiming towards. I love that he brought Alicia Keys out. And she killed it. She is so gorgeous still, by the way, like insane. And she's married
yeah.
to Swisha Beats. Is
Swiss
that who?
Beats. Yeah,
Swiss Beats? Okay, like lucky guy. But I'm sure he was sweating bullets watching just Usher just pick her up and like trying to take her.
yeah. She's an
Um,
angel in my mind, though. Too. She's absolutely one of my first like.
crushes
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Just absolutely adore Alicia Keys. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good to
yeah.
see her. Welcome back. Always, welcome anytime.
Yeah, bringing Little John out. He is tiny, like even more so than I imagined. He didn't do it for me. He's definitely lost his luster. He like I don't know, dude. Like 2004, Lil Jon. Like anytime he says anything, you just want to fight somebody. Like that's gone. Like he's just
Yeah.
kind of corny now. They brought out Jermaine Dupri, and
Mhm.
I thought that was CeeLo Green on Ozempic.
Yeah, yeah. Whoever said that is like such a great line. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Whoever
honestly
thought
did
of
think
that,
it was
so
CeeLo
funny.
Green, though. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
did, yeah. I was excited to see Jermaine Dupri because it'll tie into what I was
yeah,
dying to hear. But
yeah. And then, bringing out Ludacris, which him having the afro was dope because it reminded
yeah,
me of like Chicken and Beer. Remember that album?
yeah, the whole album and everything was
Yeah.
like he would do it extra, like, and they would blow it up for the
Yes.
videos and stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then I saw the meme today of that they look like dodgeball. They look like Globo Gym, and I was like, now I can't unsee it. You know?
Yeah, with the yeah.
Overall, though, I thought it was dope. The set list was good. I thought it tracked well, like you were saying. Like I thought it went through the eras pretty well. I kind of went from the beginning to the end. And then overall, I don't know. I thought it was great. I made the comment to my wife that the one thing that's cool about getting old is that the Super Bowl halftime show is now geared towards our generation. So like we
Yeah.
get a hoot out of it all the time. Like a couple years ago when it was Eminem, Snoop Dogg, all
Dre,
them. Yeah. And then Shakira. Like just it gets better and better. So I like that.
It is trending in our direction. I mean, I've like been on the entire Rihanna thing. So like from like even from the whole thing, which I was excited this year that nobody was pregnant because like we didn't have to like secretly keep that in our soul. Where I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm afraid to tell everybody that she's pregnant, but I think she's pregnant. I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm allowed to give the announcement, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So we're glad we avoided that awkwardness this year. But no, the show was awesome. I thought at halftime, from my perspective, I don't know if it went far back enough for me. I think there's like a bunch of bangers that, frankly, Usher left on the table from my childhood. I think he kind of picked up from your childhood, so it's a little disappointing that he
Yeah.
couldn't work in. I was glad to see Jermaine Dupri because Jermaine Dupri came in from like the very beginning, and a lot of those beats early on were his. So I'm glad that there was a tip of the cap, if you will, to JD there, but didn't go far back enough. And I got to say, when I ask around with other people my age, like they were looking for the same tracks that I was looking for. You got to give me a little bit of Usher my way. I mean, if you can't remind me of a girl that I once knew, I don't know why we're even out there. So, did he play some hits? Yes. Was it very good? Yes. Did he take his shirt off and look great? Good for you, Usher. No complaints about anything that he did out there. But I mean, I do wish that he could have taken me all the way back, and I do think there was a missed opportunity for the olds.
What did your wife think? Because that's the most important thing. Because the Super Bowl halftime show is
Yeah,
not for us; it is for the wife.
it's not. You're right. Yeah, I think she really liked it. I think she had a good time with it, and I feel like everybody in the room, just like the general
Yeah.
vibe of the room, was like, that was a good show, and I agree. Like it was good. Like I had no complaints. That's what I mean. It was fun for me too. I still
Yeah.
enjoyed like most of what he was doing. I just like Usher in general. Like I just like his music. I think so no complaints, but
Any of the commercials stick with you?
I think the Duncan. I think the Duncan commercial was the
That
winner. I
was the
think that was
one.
a clear
Yeah.
winner. I mean, I
That
think
was great.
that was like a cut above the rest. I mean, there's other stuff out there that we could play around with, but I think that was really like the one that really hit.
Tom Brady, Affleck, Damon,
Yeah,
J-Lo. I mean, they perfected it. It was great. Any of the rest, I can't really. That's the thing. I can't really remember some of the other ones. I did find it hilarious that
come
Kennedy took out an entire Super Bowl ad for a failed, political campaign. Not to get political here, but
yeah,
that was unexpected for sure. There were some fire jokes about that on Twitter,
yeah. I feel like
built around Brock Purdy.
I mean, honestly, like I'll just full court press this because this is where we're at. You brought it up. I mean, I think the losers on the day have to be the Kennedy and then the church that took the commercial out too, because there's a lot of slander going for spending X amount of millions of dollars on a commercial for Christ and being like, hey, put your money where your mouth is, in terms of, hey, maybe you didn't read that book if you're buying the commercial instead of feeding the poor or whatever.
Yeah, because the Super Bowl
And not
commercial
to get
is,
political or religious on either of it, but if we're
but a
gonna
Super
if
Bowl
we're, if we're
commercial
gonna if we're gonna
is
dip
like,
in, let's just say
yeah,
it. Yeah.
Super Bowl commercial is like 20 mil. Like it's not cheap, bro.
Yeah. So it's not like and so to that point, it's not like your mom and pop church, not the church around the corner. This is a very different kind of church.
Yeah, it's not your
Just a
community.
guess.
It's not your
Yeah.
community Baptist.
Yeah. This is not your local. I'm guessing that's probably not the one you frequent,
No.
or the last one I took communion at. It's probably a different church. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
interesting nonetheless. Yeah. But I think Duncan was the winner there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Overall, fun Super Bowl. We'll see what happens next year when the Chiefs win it the third time in a row, inevitably. So
Can't wait.
outside of that, I know you wanted to kind of hit on. I know where you were going about 5 minutes ago before we went on a tangent, but Lamar MVP.
Yeah. I wanted to get there.
You and I were, I don't know, we weren't going at it. I think we had a
No.
friendly banter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like typically we do until Hesse gets in there and pours gasoline on the fire like he usually does.
On
Um,
himself. He lit himself on fire again. He's always doing that. He just thinks he's stirring the pot, and then the pot's in his lap, and all of a sudden, yeah. But
yeah, he's like Kevin from The Office with the chili.
got a big idea, guys. Hold on. Wait till you see this. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go off, dude. I know you got an opinion on it. I'm obviously stoked, but
So I'll just like say that it was essentially framed as Josh Allen got a vote. What's up with that? And
yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
Hesse. That's Hesse,
yeah,
everybody.
yeah. So that's the guy who dumped the chili on the floor. And and I'll actually just say this, like from a starting point, that I'm happy for Lamar. No problem with Lamar winning the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Had we ever been in this discussion early in the year, and so I don't want to just do it like after the fact, because it does feel like I'm just dunking on Lamar after the fact, and I don't care. Like Lamar is deserving of an MVP as any MVP for the last 5 years. Let's call it whatever. My argument would be one, in part, that I think Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are similarly dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's like a lot to cut between the two of them if you're really gonna slice and dice and like pick at hairs. They're both two guys that lose to Patrick Mahomes a lot
Yep.
and are really good the rest of the time.
Yep.
And they both produce a lot of touchdowns and on the ground, in the air, whatever your preference is. They have their own like unique styles, but ultimately I think those guys are very similar. So to like give a vote to Josh Allen in a year where he produced 44 touchdowns, despite what you might think of his turnover game, I think both of those guys, when playing a dynamic style of football, are going to be prone to making errors. But in part, that's what makes them special, is that they make plays that other quarterbacks don't. In the other portion of this discussion, and the other part that I really was like speaking to, is not that I think that Lamar is undeserving again of winning this, but it's just simple that people are voting without any thought at all and just literally taking the quarterback who has the most wins and then dubbing that. Because again, 3 weeks before this all rounds out, we're talking about Purdy. And like, is Purdy
Mm-hmm.
fine? Like, yes. But is he dynamic on those guys' level? I don't think so. But he's still garnering votes and garnering attention for this conversation. My point would simply be that this vote has become kind of lame. It's become, all right, cool. If you're the quarterback of the best team, like, you can win this award. And thus it becomes a little bit more meaningless. And then the other part, that this is the third, there's so many layers of this. And like, I don't know, we can peel it whatever you want, Dugan, after I throw all of this out there. But the other part of this is like, part of me hurts inside that Lamar ends up winning this, because now he wins it, loses. Inherently, there's more pressure. Everyone's going to say, and I've already had it thrown in my face and saying like, hey, I think Lamar is like a really good quarterback who wins a lot. And I think the right year, like, the dice can roll his way and he can be a Super Bowl winner.
This
But
was
now
the
it's
year.
already being thrown like, hey, he's got to be held to the standard of a two-time MVP winner. Two-time MVP winners have to do this. And now the pressure is different. And it also changes in the way that, like, and I don't want to cop out and use like the Michael Vick comparison, but there is also something like, there was a certain joy about watching certain people that I don't really care if they win an MVP trophy. But if you were there and you saw it, like, you really experienced what Lamar was or what Michael Vick was, it was special in and of itself. And it doesn't have to be framed or kinged by the MVP. Like, the MVP doesn't mean, I guess what I'm saying is the MVP doesn't mean shit to me. And I'll tell you who I think is good. And that's what I think. And like, that's how I'm going to be about it. And I'm just not that interested. Like, I always thought Lamar was great. I didn't need the MVP trophies to tell me that. I think he's an MVP caliber player, but they could have given the damn thing to anybody this year, and it would have been some boring quarterback, and they would have made a vanilla ass vote. And I don't really care what they had to say about it. So that's my very long winded roundabout way of saying, fuck yo MVP.
I love that you ended it that way, but obviously I disagree, right? I feel like, I guess it depends on the year, because I've definitely seen years where you're completely correct. It's just whoever has the most yards, whoever has the most touchdowns, and their team had to have a incredible record, right? Um, this year, I think the reason why Lamar won it is kind of what I told you in the group text. Like, when he went head to head with like the best of the best during the regular season, he balled out, right? Whether it was that whole stretch where they went and they played the Jags when the Jags were like 8-2. They beat them right? Head to head. Then they go and they beat the Niners. Then they go and beat, XYZ team, like all these teams that were just killing at the time. And Lamar was balling out. So I think that's the biggest difference for me. Did he have the stats that Josh Allen had? No, he didn't. You're right. Did he cost his team games like Josh Allen did? No, I don't think he did in the regular season. So I think that was like the major difference because Josh Allen did have a few stinkers early on in the year where he absolutely cost his team the game, whether it was just a stupid interception. I think of like, was it the Chiefs game or I don't know, one of the games where he threw just an asinine interception. It was like moments like that that Lamar just didn't have during the regular season, right? And then Brock Purdy didn't win it because head to head, Lamar Jackson kicked his ass. Now, I think there's a thing to be said about like Tyreek Hill maybe getting it, right? We just mentioned him not that long ago. He had an incredible year.
Yeah.
CMC getting it, incredible year. But again, like he played both those guys head to head too. Tyreek Hill did nothing against the Ravens. So, you go up against the best defense. If you're a true MVP, you're supposed to ball out no matter what, right? No, I get it, right?
I know. I'll let you go though. You're
I'm just
good. You're
saying
good. I'm just making faces, dude. Podcast listeners don't even know I'm like rolling my
yeah,
eyes in the back of my head. You're good.
no.
No, and
But
it's not even. You're
that's
fine.
the voter
Yeah.
logic though, right? Like head to
Yeah, for
head,
sure. Yeah.
completely different positions. I get it. If you and I have this conversation, I'm not going to bring up that point. I'm just saying things that I know
Yeah,
probably
for
went
sure.
on. And then you think of the 49ers. CMC actually had a pretty decent game against the Ravens, but he lost. And again, it's a team game, right? Absolutely. But we all know the quarterback is the one position in football that can affect a win-loss record more than anything, right? So that's why the MVP skews to that position. But I get it. It makes it inherently boring. But Lamar, I think this year, both times he's won it, 2019 and this year, I think he legitimately did like deserve it, right? Because like 2019, he had just an insane year. So we don't need to
Yeah.
talk about that. That's why
No
he
one's
got,
unassailable, I think.
yeah, that's why he was, everybody voted for him. This time around, I still think he had an incredible year. He didn't put up the same exact stats as like a Josh Allen, but to be fair, if you watch Ravens games, if he were to do like, what they do in Philly, right? If he would be the one bringing like running the ball in when they're at the 1 yard line, he would have had like 50 touchdowns, but they give it to their backs in the red zone. If you watch Ravens games, that's what I'm saying. Other than that,
Yeah.
dude, he did ball out and he absolutely won them games that they probably wouldn't have won otherwise. So that's why I think he deserved the MVP. But I do get your overall concern about the award just being a quarterback award because that's what it is anymore. I mean, I could not tell you the last time a non-quarterback won the MVP.
It's been a while.
I'm gonna look it up right now as you
Yeah,
talk.
look it up. But I was like, but I know there's a couple backs. I mean, you're gonna find like a short list of like 3 or 4 guys in the last 20 years or whatever, and like you're gonna get to LaDainian Tomlinson quicker than you think.
Yeah.
Which is just an excuse to shout out my guy. But I think in terms of like and the only reason I was pushing back during your conversation at all, facially, because for those of you with audio, you had no idea until Dugan sold
Adrian
me out.
Peterson, 2012.
There you go. And my only pushback on like the like head to head, like in the NFL, throw that out. Like I'm not saying it shouldn't matter at all, but like this is not Lamar going directly against Christian McCaffrey. Like that's not even how the game is played. That's not how it works. It doesn't make sense. It's not logical. It's not the NBA, dude. It's not the same thing. It's not even close. I just like like to your point, like, and I think you know that this is what I'm saying. It's just like we're lost in this is the simple, I don't want to be the fool. And I think what I fear that we're missing is like the feeling that you get when you're watching these games. And like 2019 for me, and again, like I feel bad that I'm picking on this with Lamar because I love Lamar, and like with this, I hope this is well documented at this point if you listen to us. 2019 is like 100% unassailable. And maybe there's like a year before that even where he should be winning it or whatever, where I'm like going and I'm like, this is the best thing going right now. When this guy comes into your stadium, he is striking fear into your heart, and this is sick. This year, I thought, frankly, it's just like a really good Ravens team. that just
Yeah.
ran a professional operation and won a lot of games, and Lamar happened to be the head of it.
Yeah, it wasn't as gimmicky this year, so
And
inherently a little bit more boring. You know what I
and
mean?
so yeah, and I don't know about like, and I don't even think that it was like gimmicky before to like I don't think it's gimmicky to run the ball down your throat with a quarterback. It's actually
Yeah.
like counter to that in some ways, maybe gimmicky by NFL standards because NFL fans are, as you're describing them and pointing out, even more boring than I've even considered. That they don't like the idea of running QB ISO when it's the purest form of football that ever has been run. They're like, what a gimmick offense. And I'm like, you suck, sir. You suck. You suck at watching football. You know what's fun, dude? Watching, but ultimately I just like that's where I'm at is that I just felt like that was more of a I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was incredibly dynamic Lamar season. I felt like it was again, it was a great season. He did a good job of like running the operation, and like there's certainly credit to that too. But if we're just giving credit to that, then like let's just print the Patrick Mahomes trophies until we die because there's no one better at just running an operation than Patrick Mahomes. And then I can argue that he's making every bit of the flashy play that anybody else is. And then it's like, and that's not fun either. So I'm just simply trying to encourage people to like keep football fun and vote for something that actually inspired something in your heart this year. And I don't know that Lamar did that this year, and I'm like a Lamar guy. So I just found it to be kind of like, that's fine. And like, I don't disagree. If that's like, they're going to continue voting that way, then it should have 100% been Lamar. And again, I'm not trying to pick on him. It's just, I just want it to be a little bit more interesting. I feel like in the NBA, they're at least like trying and pushing the envelope of like what is like who's actually changing the momentum of the league or changing the dynamic in some way. And I think that at least keeps like some level of interest in it, even if it isn't perfection. And they get it wrong too. But I just
Yeah.
feel like the NFL continues to be a league that tries to put me to sleep all the time, almost intentionally. I don't know why they do this because it's a great, great game.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the NBA part because it's going to be Embiid or Jokic every year, but I mean, I get what you're saying, because they're just dynamic big men. But no, your point's well received. The overall NFL awards, though, I do have to take my victory lap in front of everybody. I know I already took it with you, but hey, Texans picks ended up being pretty okay. Your boy
Yeah.
did call that out on draft day. I said, hey, I was a huge fan of that trade. You were more so like, I don't know why you trade future draft capital to like get a defensive player. But to your point, you said he better be damn good. He was pretty
Yeah.
damn good. Got rookie
Yeah.
of the year, Will Anderson, and then CJ Stroud getting rookie of the year as well. That team's set up pretty damn well going forward.
Yeah, they did. I mean, congrats to you. Like to your point. No, I mean, hey, you called this and like this was like my exact pushback was like, hey, if both of these things are right, like, I'll just be wrong.
Yeah.
And so far both of them seem to be right.
Yeah.
So when you get it right, there's really no wrong move, right? It's like if you take the right guys that actually, pan out to be players, then you
It's
can't be
just
wrong.
we've seen that far too often not work out. So I get where
Yeah, it
you're
made me nervous. It made me nervous, but counter to the diatribe I just ran through there, Texans went for it, man. They tried to be saucy and they seem to have gotten it right. So big ups to them and congrats to you for calling it out. And yeah, take your lap, brother.
pay attention to our
Feel
NFL
good.
draft. Pay attention to our NFL draft coverage this year. I might know a thing or two.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. That's exactly right. It's
that's the plug.
coming. Yeah, it's coming. And Dugan was right. I mean, so
Hey,
and
well, I keep looking up at you real quick, and there's something right above your head. That tasty logo, and it's making me think of something. Something else happened this weekend. Do you remember?
well, we had the Wasted Management Open for sure.
And that's especially what it was this year. They just shut off the alcohol.
Our boy was out there passing these out, but I can assure you this was not the problem. Playing with flavor, non-issue. And I
Yeah.
played this weekend and I played damn good with these things. And I'm telling you, they're a big pick-me-up and there's some cash coming Papa's way because he was playing with the good stuff. But the Wasted Management Open apparently, I don't know, man. What do you think? Does it seem like they set a record for over-serving this year? Does it seem worse? Is it just the social media? What's happening?
So I saw something, what was it? I think on Twitter. No, it was on TikTok. Some dude that works as he he was like one of the bartenders there, and he said the issue, what happened was that they didn't have enough people scanning tickets. So those people got overwhelmed. People just started walking in. They had 500,000 people on that course. 500,000, bro, like on one day. So
Yeah.
then obviously with people being overwhelmed, they stop checking the VIP tents too. So people started going in there. They started just getting, the free booze. So yeah, over serving was an issue. So they had to shut it off. And if you saw any of the videos, which I know both of us did,
Yeah.
over serving was definitely an issue. You had guys wearing U of A pullovers, just pissing their pants. You had guys,
Bear down.
yeah, you had people pissing off. Who was it? Zach.
Zach Johnson.
Yeah, Zach Johnson telling people, they're like, he pulled a Shooter McGavin. Just shut up already. Shut up.
Absolutely lost his cool, flipped his lid. Yeah.
Yeah. So well done, Phoenix. It's well documented that is the biggest party of the year, and I mean, good luck next year because I'm sure that they're gonna have some broad scale changes going into the event next year.
I do feel like it felt like socially, and again, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just, inundated in it right now, but I do feel like it seemed like it bubbled over just like at a tip, like at a tip further than it normally does, like where it's always funny and you're like, oh yeah, a couple videos, like, yeah, I mean, because like, hey, you put 500,000 people into anything, there's going to be 5
With
videos of
alcohol.
people doing something weird or whatever, making a mistake. Which, by the way, though, I mean, I'm really glad that I'm at the I don't even go to this thing anymore. I just don't. Like I already saw the writing on the
I
walls.
tried to get
Free,
us media credentials, by the way.
yeah, free, yeah. And if they want to throw us media credentials, we'll walk around like in the safety of the ropes and live our lives.
Yeah.
But man, it is just it just it's just crazy. I mean, I knew it was always crazy, but I am glad that I am not 21 and jumping into the fray. Because, dude, like if you go in there and you don't realize what you're getting into and you just start drinking and the next thing you know, you're getting videoed because you simply find a slippery hill and you're concussed. I mean, that's a bad beat, man. That's a tough break. I mean, like, look, guy pissing himself, like, hey, man, I don't know, probably not much we can do to help you.
No.
But there's plenty of people that are just like, had the regular amount of like overindulgence, made a little mistake and then had to go bad on video. But dude, yeah, it seems like it's just a really tough look for the Open this year. I don't know. I've also heard people just being like, you know what, this is what people sign up for. This is what it is. It's what it's always been.
Yeah.
Let it be. And I don't know. I'm like, I definitely don't. I'm so torn because like I just think like people should go nuts. I mean, obviously, I don't want to see anyone getting hurt and like killing themselves or
No,
blah blah blah
no,
blah or
yeah.
like whatever blah blah
No
blah.
danger.
But no danger. Like, want people to be able to take care of themselves, and it seems like it towed a little bit of that line to some degree. But as far as like the interaction with like Zach Johnson, like, dude, you're a crappy Ryder Cup captain, and everybody flamed you for it. Like, you got to deal with that, dude. Like, that's
Yeah,
not a
you
big
gotta
deal to
wear
me. I'm
that.
like, yeah, I'm like, hey, like people. So, what's your complaint, Zach? People love America too much. I
Yeah.
mean, seriously, get off your high horse, pal. You got smoked. Like that's just coming, dude. And
Yeah.
you're just like hanging out at events and people are going to let you have it. I mean, that part is not a big deal to me. I'm hoping for less people pissing their pants out
In a
of
U of A
control, sitting in a
pullover.
chair, specifically in a U of A polo, because it's a bad look. Steve Kerr's watching, dude. Can you see him? He's over our shoulder at all times. But, otherwise, look like par for the course for the Phoenix Open.
Yeah, I agree with you. I hope they don't really change it. I mean, sure, maybe get a few more people to like scan tickets, just keep
Yeah,
it,
get it under
because that,
control.
for the staff, that does suck. I totally get that. Like,
Yes.
being overwhelmed, like I've been at events that are just way crazy and it's like not fun. But in terms of like just it being a party and like whatever, like, dude, that's what that event is. Like,
Yeah.
do not take its soul. Fucking keep it the way it is. Let the booze pour. I mean, dude, you saw how many people it pulls in. Like, and I'm talking about not just regular, people like you and I, but like you have big time media people coming in. Our boy Tasty, he met freaking Bob Does Sports. He brought he met Fat Perez.
Yeah.
That was dope. I'm a big FP guy. I think he's
Yeah.
awesome.
No.
And just him, kind of stunting on the brand a little bit. That was really cool. FP, if you're listening, come watch. Come on the show. We'd love to have you. But
Yeah.
like, you got to keep the soul of the event because that's what it brings in. It just brings in people like that. So
Yeah, and then so the good event, right, was able to
yeah,
piggyback off of that and have an event early in the week with all of like the social media golfers, all those influencers,
yep.
and say what you want about all of those guys, like whether you're into it or not. Like I get it if you're pro only, but there's like a lot of really cool, fun things happening in the golf space, like in whether it's social media, YouTube, however you want to frame it. And those events can piggyback off of all the great stuff that the PGA is doing. And obviously, the PGA has like its growing pains right now. And obviously,
Oh yeah.
the Live Tour is its own unique thing. And whatever those two things are, and we still don't know, and we could talk about it for the next 5 years, Dugan, and we probably still won't know.
No.
But whatever it all is, like all of those things, like were culminating and like built off the back of like what was just the Wasted Management Open, the old Phoenix Open, and like the fun and the party that is, and the reason that it attracts people outside of normal golf. The same reason Taylor Swift was good for the Super Bowl. A party at a golf event is like good for golf. It's good for the
Yes.
game. And like, yeah, like to your point, they just need to probably like dial it in from an operation standpoint. And I think all of this is fine because it's been going on for years where people have overindulged, had fun, but still safely managed to get through it. You're just fall on the grass. Yeah, you get in your lift and
Yeah.
everything's fine.
Being adult.
Yeah, suck it up.
Yeah. But
Piss on your stool and go home.
But hey, PJ, we're looking at you. We have 10,000 Instagram followers now. We want our damn media passes. All right. I'm not trying to be embarrassed next year. So
These
click that
guys.
follow button. Yeah. You see jump shots from the goal line right there, PJ? You got to invite us. All right. You invite Fat Perez. You invite all the other guys. Where are we at? But if you guys want us to be at events like that, like how we were with the Live, hit that subscribe button. Show them who the hell we are. Share this podcast with people. Just accumulate our followers so that we're undeniable, baby. And we're going to get into events and we'll give you our opinion on all of it. Before we leave, though, I do want to hit on college basketball really quickly. And then I do have message board warriors that kind of feeds into everything. So the Cats went to Utah, went to double overtime, not triple, right? Or did we go to triple? It was
No,
again
triple,
overtime. Okay, we did go to triple.
right?
Yes,
I think triple.
We
I was
did.
watching the damn thing, but now
I
after
did
all the
too.
overtimes, it just but I think triple, yeah.
I was pulling dad duty that night, and Emery was sleeping, but I had the game on because, hey, it was a great one. That happened, and Utah had not been beat at home this whole season. They played well. Bunch of white guys, as you would expect from a Utah team. Bunch of white guys, but they played well. Then the Cats go into Boulder on Saturday. Another team that has not lost at home yet. They have a potential top 5 pick in Cody Johnson. Is that his name? I believe so, right? Cody Johnson. Cody Williams. Cody Williams. Yeah, Phoenix kid.
Yep.
Shut him down. Absolutely spank the hell out of the Buffs. Great weekend by the boys overall, right?
Oh, huge weekend or week, however you want to frame it. Yeah, I mean they wouldn't run two again. They won 2 road games against teams that hadn't lost at home. So huge in of itself. Got themselves back in the conversation for a number 1 seed. But I think more than anything, just like reinstated emphatically what I think a lot of us have believed, and I think if you've been watching game in and game out, there's been a thing with this squad where you can't really put a finger on it as to what happens, whether it's a lack of effort, whether it's complacency, again, whatever terminology you want to use. But like their high end talent is really good.
Yeah.
Like this team can be as good as any team. They're 1 through 5 really strong. They bring some really solid players off the bench. Krivas is a really solid big. They're going to bring KJ Lewis off. Is KJ Lewis? Now that's the Colorado kid's name. I'm going to be messing all of this up.
KJ Lewis.
KJ Lewis is our guy.
Yes.
What's the name of the Colorado kid? Not Cody Williams, but the other kid who's like. Anyways, now I'm like,
kid?
Yeah, I don't even know. Now I'm just like, I threw us all off. But ultimately, we're deep, we're talented, we're good, and I think it's just like reaffirming of that. Long way to go. anything can change, anything can happen, but this team seems to have like really high end talent, and they seem to be showing a little bit of fire. So all in on this Cats team right now. Excited about the way they're playing.
KJ Simpson.
Simpson is their kid, and I started going. I'm like, I got in my own head about like because they were talking back and forth, and I was like, wait, did I just like flip him? I'm like, because I love KJ Lewis, by the way.
Yeah,
As we've talked about on this podcast before, but total
fouled
panic
out,
moment by
but
me.
fouled
Yeah.
out, but he gave it his all. Caleb Love, he's damn good. Like, I feel
Sick.
like every time that like we're kind of stalling out, he just goes, you know what? Screw this. I'm just going to take every shot for the next 5 minutes, and he gets us back on track.
Yeah, he's like, I got a plan. It's like, I'm going to shoot, dude. I'm going to do me.
Yeah, which is great, dude, because like that's been that was our problem last year. I felt like, we have guys that were talented, but we had a bunch of guys that were kind of afraid to be like the man of the moment. Caleb Love is not that guy. Like, he will take the reins, and he will look. He might go 2 for 18, all right, but he also might hit some huge shots. Like in the Utah game, he hit that huge 3. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And like absolutely put a dagger in them in overtime. That's the kind of guy you need in March, right? Which we're fastly approaching. I think with the overall squad we have, the depth that we have, the overall cohesiveness, and then you add in just an absolute firecracker of a guy like that can just like blow up anytime. That's going to be dangerous in March.
Yeah, and I love what Pella's turned into too, which I've always privately and publicly, if you're listening, been like a big Pella guy. Like I honestly thought, I was saying 2 years ago that I thought he is potentially an NBA guy. I thought
Oh,
he was
he
the best guy on
definitely
the
is.
roster, a couple years ago, and I said that. I was like, he's the only NBA guy on this roster. It's been a long path for Pella to like get to where
Mhm.
he is, and people because like if you have that conversation, people are like, I know, I wish he'd have been like this the whole time. Well, maybe he needed to develop. It is what it is. Everybody's on their own journey as far as that goes, and he missed some free throws down the stretch against Utah, which was annoying.
I had my
But
group chat blowing, like, not our group chat, but another one, like, blowing
yeah,
him up about missing the 2, and I'm like, "Wait, look at stat line.
yeah,
Absolutely killing it." I'm like, "The
yeah.
only reason we're in this game is because of him."
Yeah, exactly. The guy has been awesome, man. Like, I mean, if you're watching U of A games, you know how valuable he is to this squad. He
I
does
love
so much in every avenue of the court, and so much that is asked of him. He really has risen to that point where, like, I'm like, that's a guy you can rely on to go make a play in any capacity. It's an offensive rebound. It's taking a charge. It's knocking down a 3. I mean, the guy can give you 25 and also give you the best defense on the perimeter of anybody consistently for 30 minutes. I mean, I just don't know what else you would really be asking of a guy at the college level. I think sometimes people get really lost in like what the college game is. You watch so much NBA, you watch the college game, and you expect it to be all of this space. And like, if you're not just like going and flying and throwing down dunks or missing them, as Caleb Love will do both, whatever the case may be, like you're just like, I don't know if he's like really. Trust me, Pella can play, and they got some dudes on this team, and if they get some consistency out of like Boswell, Bradley, and the combination of both, and maybe some KJ, whatever that looks like. But you're right. I think Caleb's going to be a steadying force. Pella's going to be a steadying force. I think Ballo gives you exactly what you need from a big in the
tough
college
guy.
level.
Yeah.
Again, not a guy who's like game's going to translate incredibly to the NBA. So don't
Mhm.
look for him to do that forever. But for what he is in college basketball, him and Krivas is a good pair. Yeah, this is a much more athletic squad. The conversations that we've had in this discussion and recourse around U of A basketball under Tommy Lloyd has been like, are they athletic enough? Like, do they have the horses? And I think this is as good as it's been in terms of like the players that they have available and the talent that's there. So as optimistic as I could be.
Yeah, and they look better than basically any other top 10 team outside of UConn right now. Kansas lost to Kansas State, and then they lost tonight to Texas Tech. I don't know if you
Yeah, it's
saw
like
that
Tech
already.
tonight, right? Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
I was watching that game early, but yeah.
which your boy Bill Self got ejected, so that's fun. It's funny though because um, I was looking that Kansas lost to Kansas State, and I was like, I got message board warriors this weekend. I gotta see what's popping. Oh, the thing about message boards. And actually, here, before we go too much further, let's play the clip. The thing about like being on a message board, especially like specifically 247, if you want like the good stuff, like the really good content, you got to look for like the little lock. That's where the moderator's gone in and he has locked the thread. He wants no more comments. He wants nobody talking about this shit anymore. Right. So like I go on there like trying to find stuff.
Special.
I was trying to find stuff about people like just blowing up about losing to Kansas State because that like never happens anymore. You know, Kansas is usually pretty infallible when it comes to that rivalry. Didn't really find the stuff I was looking for, but what I did find, it was just titled Razorbacks. And this is a story from a couple weeks ago, and I'm sure you probably have come up on it. But it's about the love triangle in Arkansas. Did you see this?
I don't know if I have.
Oh my gosh, dude. So per sources, Devontae Davis, Trayvon Brazile, and Jalen Graham were participants in a locker room love triangle. This led to Devontae Davis leaving the team. And it's not a love triangle over a woman. That's all I'll put. Okay.
So yeah, so we got like a in-house teammate all related situation.
Yeah, they were real close. I'll put it that way. And the comments on this thing. I don't know why Kansas fans are even talking about this other than just Arkansas is another decent basketball team, but some of these are just terrific. Let me read some of them off. Sounds like they're relying too much on Grindr funding their NIL program instead of working the local Walmart money. That's a decent one. Okay.
Walmart money is easy playing Arkansas. Come on, fellas.
Brings a whole new meaning to the triangle offense. That's a good one. I like that. Okay. The best one I found, let me pull it up. Let's see. Where did it go? Musselman is the new leader of men. I like that. But the best one, New Mexico State says whoa. That was a good one. But the best one was, I guess, the day after Arkansas beat Georgia. Okay. And the comment or the caption of their, 78-75 win was, "Got that hog in us." One of the commenters said, "Yeah, you sure do."
It's hard to beat there, yeah.
I mean, that's just, look, sometimes message boards are just, you don't go there looking for news, you just go there looking for entertainment. That's one of those times, all right? So I don't want to look too much further into this story. I frankly don't care. I don't really care about Arkansas basketball. Yeah. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, I know the comments are going to be fire on this. And that one right there, we got that hog in us. God, you can't be a social media manager and just tee it up that way for people. It's just too easy.
That is a dynamic, though, that I really haven't given much thought to be honest. And that's like very interesting to take on as a coach or whatever the case. Like because as you mentioned, I think like probably pretty, whatever. But like I'm sure like there's been like the girlfriend thing. We've seen that with Derek Fisher and Matt Barnes and that's not good either. But like 3 teammates, like all being intertwined in a way that is, obviously different, at least in some regard. Love is love, whatever. But
SEC, no less.
That is an interesting dynamic, man. That is like that makes for a real spicy locker room. It has to.
Spicy.
The words that are coming to me are the words that are coming to me, man. I don't know, but I mean, like, it's an interesting locker room dynamic. I'll just say that. I mean, you just think of just 3, the 3 guys that don't just get along anymore in the locker room. That's a problem. But if you're actually like adding feelings to that, yikes.
Yeah, in God's country.
Good luck, Musselman. That's a tough one, man.
Yeah, I guess people are saying that he needs to be fired. I'm just like, oh
Musselman?
my God.
Why though? Like just for
recruiting
love, dude. Like what? For
being inclusive, brother?
Yeah, I was like, for recruiting love. Like, I mean, like he's like telling these guys to love on each other, and now like they actually bought in, and now it's on him. I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know.
when
No way.
team chemistry goes wrong, bro.
Yeah, that's just like that's what I mean. That's just a different dynamic that I just hadn't even really given any consideration to. I'm like,
Yeah.
but
Again,
yeah, message board material. Also, could all be lies. These message boards are crazy.
yeah, I mean, it could be, but I
Yeah,
did hear about this story a couple of weeks ago and didn't give any
yeah. I'm
thought.
sure it's like, I mean, I'm sure it's legit, but
Yeah, because I truthfully don't care. But then I was just like, oh, I
of
know that
course,
these
yeah,
comment sections are going to be just excellent. So, and
yeah.
they were. They did not disappoint. This is going to be something again that we bring to the show week after week. You guys have a specific segment that you guys want us to bring forward? I know we've mentioned like bringing like the Twitter stuff, kind of forward and to you guys' viewpoint, just the conversations we have and the stupid shit that we send each other. More than happy to do that. Or if you have any other ideas, let us know. Other than that, though, I think that pretty much summarizes it. I mean, Chip Kelly's going to OSU. That's objectively hilarious that he leaves a blue blood program to go be an OC. But that's basically all I had to end on, man.
Chip Kelly's story is objectively hilarious. That is, I mean, that's just stunning. Like UCLA, I mean, and then I don't even know how they're going to fill that position. Honestly, did they already
Deshaun
fill that
Foster.
position? Did they take
Deshaun
Deshaun
Foster
Foster? Is that official? Official? I was like, I
today.
saw the
They announced it
whispers.
today. Yep. They
Okay,
announced it today.
so I mean, he's a pretty good running back. We're number 26. Sure. I mean, I don't know.
Just
I mean, I
Carolina
definitely
Panther,
remember
baby.
Deshaun Foster. That's just another guy that makes me feel old getting a head coaching job.
Just
I'm like pretty sure Deshaun Foster is my age,
it
but
was him and who else on the Panthers? They had like a pretty dynamic running back room.
Foster was prior to Stewart though, right? Like that was
No, it was Stewart
pre
because that's
was
the Oregon guy,
that was
right?
like D'Angelo Williams and Stewart were more together.
Yes. Okay.
Deshaun Foster was like a little prior. I think he predates both of those guys just a little bit.
Really?
I think so.
Or did they
I
have
think
all
so.
three at one point?
It could have been all three. I mean, it could have been a spicy running back room.
A
There's
little
no
triangle of
limit,
their own.
no limitations to the use of spicy in this podcast. That
Oh
word
my
can mean so
gosh.
many things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which by the way, still I'll never not hear spice. My buddy who's a Broncos fan still, no matter what, as soon as he sits on his throne and I just can laugh at, no, you're so spicy.
Oh my
Like that
god.
Russ Dangerous sandwich always still gets me. But yeah, we can get out of here, dude. I'm just rambling about nothing. You hit me with a triangle offense and some weird stuff, and I'm supposed to just
Sit
read and
there and take
react.
it, bro.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
mean, like, come on, what are you doing to me, man?
All right. Well, hey guys, like we mentioned earlier in the show, don't forget to hit that like button, that subscribe button. Go ahead and share the show with somebody that you know. Go ahead and share this video on Facebook or Twitter or wherever. Send it to a buddy. But make sure you're just, growing that following. You can follow us on, like I said, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. We're on all the major social media platforms. Go ahead and check out Tasty if you're going to be hitting the links anytime soon. It helped John shoot in the 70s. Maybe I shouldn't have said that because now you're going to go out and shoot like a 91.
106.
Just the bad juju from your co-host every week. But go ahead and hit that like button. Helps us out a lot, guys. Helps grow the following and lets us go to better events. But other than that, guys, stay safe. Enjoy, basketball season because now football is over. So we will talk to you next week. Bye.